I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel and like this video. My goal is to reach the first 1,000 subscribers. Thank you and enjoy. Before I tell you what happened, here's the point of this story. Disrespect rarely arrives with fireworks. It shows up in small moves, silence where there used to be warmth, a new tone on simple questions, a partner acting like basic accountability is drama. The mistake most guys make is trying to win their place back with extra effort, extra talking, extra patience. That just feeds the new rules. In this one, the focus is simple and practical. How to spot the moment a marriage shifts into roommate mode. How to protect your resources without turning into a detective in your own home. And how to respond with calm boundaries instead of emotional bargaining. No hero speeches, just decisions and consequences. I came home late from a job site with drywall dust in my hair and my tool bag cutting into my hand. The kind of late where the neighborhood is quiet and porch lights are the only thing moving. I opened the door and stopped for half a second. The TV was on, volume at 0. Lauren was on the couch, phone inches from her face, thumb flicking like the world depended on it. No glance. No hey. No shift of her body like she noticed another human entered the house. I set my tool bag down by the door. Evening. Nothing. Long day. She kept scrolling. Not even the courtesy of pretending she heard me. I walked a few steps in, watched her face. There was a tiny smile, but it wasn't for me. It was for whatever was lighting up her screen. I let a beat pass. You hungry? I can grab something or make eggs. That finally got a response. She didn't look up. I'm meeting a friend later. Which friend? I asked, normal tone, the way you ask if you're sharing a life with someone. What time? That's when she changed. Not tired. Not distracted. Sharp. Don't start. I blinked once. Start what? The questions, she said, still not looking at me. It's exhausting. I stood there, still holding my keys. It's not an interrogation. It's a schedule. I'm trying to know when my wife is coming home. She gave a small laugh, like I'd told a cute joke. You're being dramatic. Lauren, I said calm. I asked 2 basic things. She finally looked up, and her eyes were flat. We're fine. Then she got up, grabbed her coat, moved past me like I was a hallway lamp. Don't wait up, she tossed over her shoulder. I watched her hand on the doorknob. What time, Lauren? She didn't turn around. We'll see. Door closed. Her car started. Taillights gone. And that was it. Not a fight. Not a big moment. Just a new rule. She could disappear, and I was supposed to smile and call it healthy independence. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have skipped the benefit of the doubt phase and gone straight to structure. That night, I didn't pace the house. I didn't spam her phone. I didn't do the whole wounded husband performance. I washed my hands, made myself food, sat at the kitchen table, and pulled out a small notebook I kept in my work bag for measurements. I wrote the date. Time I got home. Her exact phrases, don't start. You're being dramatic. We're fine. Don't wait up. We'll see. Not because I wanted ammunition, because I wanted clarity. If you can't write it down, you can't see the pattern. And patterns don't lie, even when people do. The next morning confirmed it wasn't a one-off. I got up early, brewed coffee, and poured her a cup the way I always did. She came into the kitchen in a fitted office dress, hair done, phone already in her hand. I slid the mug toward her. Coffee. She took it with 2 fingers like it was a sample at a grocery store. Thanks. No eye contact. No kiss. Not even a how was the job. I leaned against the counter. Are we okay? That finally got her eyes on me. And they had that look, like I was a task she didn't want to deal with before work. Don't do this in the morning. I'm doing it now, I said. Because you've been cold for weeks, and last night you walked out without telling me where you were going. She exhaled like I'd ruined her day on purpose. Chest too. I'm busy, Nate. I have a lot going on. We both do. She lifted her phone slightly. You take everything personally. I raised an eyebrow. I'm your husband. It's literally my job to take our marriage personally. She gave a tight smile. You're too sensitive. That one landed like a slap, dressed up as advice. I nodded once. Okay. She walked out the door without saying goodbye. I didn't chase her. I didn't send a paragraph. I didn't call her best friend. I did what I do in my business when something changes. I adjusted the plan. That afternoon, between checking on a crew at the warehouse and running supplies, I went to the bank and opened a separate account under my company. My business already had accounts, but this one was clean and simple. My income, my bills, my responsibility. I set my direct deposits to split. Household shared expenses stayed covered. The rest went where I could control it. That evening, I moved my clothes into the guest bedroom. Not in a dramatic suitcase way. No slam drawers. I carried hangers, folded jeans, put my boots in the closet. Quiet, like rearranging a storage room. Lauren came in around 9, keys jangling, heels clicking. She stopped in the hallway, saw me coming out of the guest room. Her eyes narrowed. "What is this?" "New setup," I said. She scoffed. "You're punishing me." "No," I replied. "I'm removing confusion. If we're not acting like partners, we're not sleeping like partners." She laughed again, like she couldn't believe I'd grown a spine. "So now you're going to play roommate?" "I'm going to live in a house where respect is a requirement," I said. "Roommates have rules. Partners have trust. Right now, we don't have the second one." She stepped closer, voice low. "You can't just decide this by yourself." I met her eyes. "Watch me." She opened her mouth like she was about to swing for the fences, then caught herself. She flipped tactics midair. "Fine," she said, too sweet. "Do what you want." She walked past me, shoulders stiff, and shut our bedroom door. That night, I wrote in the notebook again. Time she came home. Her reaction. The shift. Anger, then fake calm. A few days later, she tested me harder. I was eating at the table, invoices spread out, when she walked in and dropped her purse with a loud thud. "By the way," she said, "I'm going out tomorrow night. Don't make it weird." I didn't look up. "What time are you leaving?" She snapped. "Seriously?" "Yes," I said. "Seriously." She crossed her arms. "You're not my dad." I finally looked at her. "And you're not my teenager. Adults communicate schedules when they live together." She rolled her eyes. "God, you're obsessed." "I'm structured," I corrected. "If you want mystery, write a novel." Her jaw tightened. "You're doing this because you can't handle an independent woman." I leaned back in my chair. Independent doesn't mean secretive. Independent doesn't mean disrespectful. Independent doesn't mean you get to come and go, and I'm supposed to clap. She stared at me, then snatched her phone and walked away. Micro cliffhanger? Sure. The next day, she didn't go out. She stayed home. And for the first time in weeks, she tried a soft reset. When I walked in that evening, the kitchen smelled like my favorite chicken dish. Table set. Her hair down. A smile loaded and ready. "Hey," she said, like she'd rehearsed it. I made dinner. I paused, because I'm human. Because part of me wanted to believe it. But I didn't step into the hug she offered. "What's the occasion?" I asked. She gave a little laugh. "Does there have to be one?" "There usually does," I said. She touched my arm. "I've been stressed. Work is insane. I haven't been myself." I nodded slowly. "Okay." Her face softened. "I miss us." "Do you?" I replied, calm. "Or do you miss the version of me that doesn't ask questions?" Her smile twitched. "I'm trying," she said, voice slightly sharper now. "You always have to find something wrong." I sat down at the table. "Eat with me." She did. She played the part. Asked about a job. Laughed at a small story. Put her phone face down. And then, right when the warmth was supposed to seal the deal, Chast 3, she slipped. "So," she said casually, "maybe you can move back into the bedroom this weekend." I looked at her. "No." Her eyes widened like I'd insulted her cooking. "Why not?" "Because dinner isn't accountability," I said. "If you want partnership back, we fix the basics first." Her voice tightened. "You're holding this over my head." "I'm holding the standard," I corrected. "Big difference." She pushed her plate away. "You're impossible." I pointed at her phone. "If you can't handle simple questions and simple honesty, then yeah, this version of me will feel impossible." She stood up, grabbed her phone, and walked out of the kitchen. There it was. The soft phase wasn't about closeness. It was about getting her comfort back. The moment she didn't get the result, the warmth disappeared. I wrote it down. A week later, we had a party at our friend's place, Troy and Vanessa. Suburban backyard, string lights, plastic cups, everybody pretending life is uncomplicated. I almost didn't go, but I don't hide in my own life. And I wanted to see how Lauren acted when there were witnesses. We drove separately. That was my initiative, and she hated it. "You're being ridiculous," she snapped in the driveway when I grabbed my keys. "No," I said. "I'm being clear. I'll meet you there." She glared. "So you can watch me?" I smirked. "You think you're the main character in everybody's movie." Her nostrils flared. She got in her car and peeled out like she was 14. At the party, she was glowing, laughing loud, touching arms. standing just a little too close to a guy from Troy's gym circle. Not outright, not obvious enough to call out without looking jealous, just enough to send a message. I walked up behind her while she was mid-laugh. She didn't turn, didn't introduce me, didn't even acknowledge I existed. The gym guy, Ryan, I think, looked at me and hesitated. Oh, hey man. I nodded. Nate. Lauren finally glanced over her shoulder, eyes sliding past me. We're talking. I raised an eyebrow. I see that. Vanessa came over, holding a tray. Nate, you made it. Yeah, I said. Hard to miss free burgers. She laughed, but her eyes flicked to Lauren like she was reading tension. Lauren cut in, loud enough for people nearby. Some men don't handle independent women very well. A couple people chuckled awkwardly. Ryan looked at his shoes. Troy suddenly found something fascinating in his grill. I smiled. Not a friendly smile. The kind you give when someone tries to embarrass you and you refuse to participate. Independence is great, I said, voice steady. Respect is non-negotiable. Lauren's smile froze. Oh my God, you're doing it right now. Doing what? I asked. Speaking? She leaned in like she was going to whisper, but she wanted an audience. You always have to control the narrative. I took a sip of soda, slow. Lauren, the only narrative I control is my own. Yours seems pretty busy tonight. Her eyes flashed. She grabbed her cup and turned away like I'd slapped her. Troy stepped closer a minute later, low voice. You okay? I'm good, I said. Just collecting data. He frowned. That doesn't sound good. It's better than pretending, I replied. Later, I watched Lauren drift toward the patio gate with her phone pressed to her ear, smiling like she was hearing something she liked. She looked back once, saw me looking, and her smile dropped. She turned away fast. That was my cliffhanger. Not because I was confused anymore, because I was done guessing. 2 days after that party, I made a call. Not to a buddy, not to a family member, to a private specialist a guy in construction had recommended, someone who handled facts cleanly, legally, and quietly. Public places, timestamps, no drama. When we met, it was in a plain office with a desk and no personality. The specialist, Mark, was in his 50s, calm voice, eyes that didn't waste time. He slid a pad across the desk. Dates, times, patterns. I gave him what I had. The notebook wasn't emotional. It was logistical. He nodded as he read. You're organized. I run crews, I said. This is the same thing, just uglier. He looked up. What do you want out of this? Truth, I replied. Chast 4. Then I'll decide. He nodded once. All right. The next week, Lauren turned the nice up again. Stronger this time. Too strong. One morning, I woke up to the smell of breakfast. Not just eggs. Pancakes. Coffee. She was in the kitchen like a magazine photo, humming softly, acting like the last month never happened. Morning, she said brightly. I made your lunch too. I stopped in the doorway. What's this? She smiled wide. Us. A reset. I walked to the counter, opened the lunch bag. Sandwich, chips, a little note. It was almost funny. Like she'd Googled, how to get your husband back in 3 steps. She watched my face carefully. I've been thinking, she said. We've both been tense. I want our anniversary to be perfect. There it was. Not love. Optics. The picture. I set the lunch bag down. Anniversary's 2 weeks away. I know, she said quickly. I already booked dinner. Where? I asked. She hesitated half a second. A place downtown. Which place? She laughed lightly. Why do you need all the details? I looked at her over my coffee mug. Because you're suddenly generous and vague at the same time. That's your tell. Her smile tightened. You're impossible. I nodded. You said that already. She came around the counter, arms going around my waist, pressing herself in like we were back to normal. Nate, please. Can we just be good? I let the hug happen for 1 second. Then I peeled her arms off gently and stepped back. We can be respectful, I said. Good comes after. Her eyes hardened, then she forced them soft again. Okay, respectful. So, you'll come to dinner with me. I'll be there, I said. But I'm coming as myself, not as your accessory. She blinked like she didn't like that word. Accessory. You want the photo, I said. Not the man. She opened her mouth, then closed it. You're overthinking. I sipped my coffee. And you're under-explaining. That afternoon, Mark texted me. You need to see this. He didn't send it to my phone directly. He met me in a parking lot near my warehouse and handed me an envelope. Inside were printed photos and a simple timeline. Dates. Times. Locations: public places. First photo: a restaurant downtown, warm lighting, a corner table. Lauren sitting too close to a man, her hand on his. I didn't have to squint. I knew him. It was Eric, my brother-in-law, married to Lauren's sister, Erin. Second photo: parking lot. Lauren leaning into him, his arm around her like it belonged there. Third: them walking side by side, laughing, moving like a pair that didn't expect consequences. I stared at the photos and felt something surprising. Not panic. Not tears. A clean, cold click. Like a lock sliding into place. Mark watched me carefully. "You okay?" "I'm clear," I said. He nodded. That's usually how it goes when it's real. I put the photos back in the envelope. "Thanks." As I turned to leave, my phone buzzed. Erin. I almost didn't answer. Then I did. Her voice was shredded. "Nate, are you home?" "I'm not," I said. "Where are you?" "In my car," she choked out. "I'm coming over." "Don't drive like that," I replied. "Park somewhere safe. I'll meet you." 20 minutes later, Erin sat in the passenger seat of my old pickup outside a quiet coffee shop. Her mascara had run, her hands shaking around a cup she wasn't drinking. She looked at me like she was trying to confirm I was real. "It's Lauren," she whispered. "And Eric." I didn't blink. "I know." Her mouth opened, then closed. "How?" I pulled the envelope from my jacket and handed it to her. She flipped through the photos and made a sound that wasn't a word. She pressed the envelope to her chest like it was a wound. "I thought I was losing my mind," she said. "He kept telling me I was paranoid." Lauren kept acting weird, like I was annoying her. I stared straight ahead through the windshield. "They didn't just lie. They trained you to doubt yourself." Erin swallowed hard. "What do we do?" I turned to her. "We don't scream. We don't beg. We don't turn this into a circus. We do it clean." She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "Clean how?" "I'm not sleeping in a lie another night," I said. "Chest 5. But I'm not setting the house on fire either. We do paperwork. We control the timing. And we let facts talk." She stared at me, breathing unevenly. "She's planning something for your anniversary." I let out a short laugh. "Of course she is." Erin's voice got small. "She wanted it perfect. She told me that last week. Like, she was proud." I nodded slowly. "Perfect for who?" We sat in silence for a moment. Then Erin straightened up, eyes red but focused. "I want them in the same room," she said. "I want them to look people in the face." "Me too," I replied. "But we do it without yelling, without name-calling, without giving them the chance to act like we're unstable." Erin swallowed. "So, what?" "We just dropped the truth on the table." I tapped the envelope. "Exactly." Over the next days, Erin and I moved like adults who had been forced into an unpleasant project. We each met privately with professionals who handled the paperwork side. Quiet consultations, clear steps, no dramatic speeches. I kept it simple. I made sure my business was insulated. I made sure my personal accounts were clean. I made sure the house expenses stayed paid so nobody could twist it into financial cruelty. Lauren noticed the calm and hated it. One night she cornered me in the hallway, voice sharp. "You're acting weird." I smiled slightly. "That's rich." She stepped closer. "Are you punishing me again?" "No," I replied. "I'm protecting myself." She scoffed. "From what?" "I'm here. You're physically present," I said. "That's not the same thing." Her eyes narrowed. "You've been distant." I tilted my head. "You mean I stopped chasing you?" She opened her mouth, then switched tactics, soft voice. "Nate, I love you." I looked at her, really looked. "Say it without needing something." Her face tightened. "What does that even mean?" "It means," I replied, "you only turn warm when you feel control slipping." She slapped the wall lightly with her hand, frustrated. "You're impossible." I nodded. Still true. The anniversary night arrived like a staged photo shoot. Lauren went all out. Dress, hair, a smile polished so hard it looked painful. She insisted we host a small gathering at our place before going downtown. Parents, a few friends, Erin and Eric included, because Lauren wanted the picture to be complete. The perfect family frame. When Erin walked in, she looked steady, almost calm, like steel wrapped in a nice blouse. She hugged Lauren politely. Hugged me a second longer. Eric strolled in behind her, confident, joking, acting like a man with nothing to lose. He clapped me on the shoulder. "Happy anniversary, man," he said too loud. "You lucked out with this one." I glanced at his hand on my shoulder, then back at his face. "Yeah," I said. "Tonight's memorable." Lauren floated around the room, laughing, playing hostess, phone tucked away for once. She kept touching my arm, like she was marking territory. "Babe," she whispered at one point, smile wide for the crowd. "Isn't this nice?" I looked at her. "It's organized," I said. "I like organized." Her smile twitched. "That's my Nate." I didn't correct her. I just waited. When everyone had a drink, soda, sparkling water, whatever, and plates in their hands, I tapped a spoon gently against a glass. Not loud, just enough to gather attention. Lauren's eyes widened slightly. "Oh my God," she whispered, delighted. "You're making a toast?" I looked at the room. Troy and Vanessa were there, along with a couple other friends. Lauren's parents sat on the couch. Aaron stood near the hallway, steady. Eric leaned against the counter, smirking like he owned the place. I lifted my glass. "Thanks for being here," I said. "I'm not big on speeches, so I'll keep it simple." Lauren beamed. "I believe anniversaries are about truth," I continued. "Not just memories. Not just photos. Truth." The word made Lauren's smile stiffen. I turned slightly, picked up a plain folder from the side table, and held it up. "This is my anniversary gift," I said calmly. Clarity. Lauren's voice laughed too high. "Nate, what is this?" I didn't look at her yet. I looked at the room. "Some of you have noticed Lauren and I have been off." Lauren snapped quietly. "Chest 6. Don't do this." I finally turned to her, voice even. "You don't get to don't do this me anymore." The room went quiet like someone lowered the volume. I reached into the folder and pulled out a couple printed pages. Not a pile. Not a slideshow. Just enough. "Over the past weeks," I said, "Lauren has been leaving at night with vague explanations. When I asked basic questions, I got told I was dramatic. I adjusted my life accordingly." Lauren's face went pale. "You're embarrassing me." I nodded once. "You handled that part yourself." Her mother stood up halfway. "Nate." I held up a hand, respectful. "I'm not here to insult anyone. I'm here to end confusion." Then Erin stepped forward. Her voice was steady, but her hands were tight around her own folder. "And I'm here because it wasn't just his confusion," she said. Eric's smirk faded. "Erin, what are you doing?" Erin looked at him like she'd finally stopped hoping. "I'm finishing what you started." Lauren snapped. "Erin, stop. This is not the time." Erin didn't even glance at her sister. She looked at the room. "I found out my husband has been meeting Lauren in secret, in public places, for weeks." Lauren's father's face went stiff. "Lauren." Lauren's eyes darted, searching for control. "This is insane." I placed 2 photos on the coffee table where everyone could see without me waving them around like a showman. Downtown restaurant. Parking lot. Their hands. Their closeness. Their comfort. No graphic details. Just undeniable. Lauren stared at the photos like they were a different language. You had me followed?" I tilted my head. "You had yourself documented." Eric pushed off the counter, voice rising. "This is a setup." I looked at him. "You walked into my house and congratulated me. That takes confidence." Lauren's mother covered her mouth. Lauren's father sat back down hard, like his legs quit on him. Lauren lunged toward me, whisper hissing through her perfect smile. "You are ruining my life." I kept my voice normal. "You built a double life. I'm just refusing to live in it." Her eyes flashed with something ugly. "So what? You're going to throw me out? In front of everyone?" I nodded once. "Yes. Because you don't get to keep the house, the husband, and the secret schedule." She looked around, trying to find allies. "This is private." I gestured lightly at the room. "You made it public when you started treating me like furniture in front of people." Erin spoke again, quiet but firm. "Eric, we're done." Eric's face twisted. "You're overreacting." Erin's laugh was flat. "That's funny. That was your favorite word." Lauren grabbed my arm. Her grip was tight. "Nate, please. Not like this." I looked down at her hand on my arm, then back at her face. "Take your hand off me." She didn't move. I repeated it, calm. "Take your hand off me." She released like she'd touched a hot pan. I turned to the room. "I'm not asking anyone to pick sides. I'm not doing a performance. I'm ending my participation." Lauren's father stood, voice low and controlled. "Lauren, go upstairs." Lauren shook her head fast. "No. Dad, he's twisting this." I looked at her dad. "I'm not twisting anything. The facts don't need my help." I picked up my keys from the side table. "Lauren, you can stay here tonight. Guest room, not ours. Tomorrow we'll handle logistics through comm channels. You will not have access to my business accounts. Shared bills will remain paid. That's it." She stared at me like she couldn't believe I wasn't yelling. You can't do this. I gave her a small, almost polite smile. I already did. Then I looked at Eric. And you, get out of my house. He opened his mouth. I stepped closer, not aggressive, just final. Now. He hesitated, looked around, realized nobody was laughing with him, and grabbed his jacket. Aaron moved aside as he passed, not even looking at him. Lauren's perfect anniversary dress suddenly looked like a costume in the wrong movie. She stood there, lips trembling, eyes wild, trying to find a lever. She found none. As I walked to the door, Lauren called after me, voice cracking. Where are you going? I didn't turn back right away. Chest 7. I put my hand on the doorknob, then looked over my shoulder. I'm going somewhere I don't have to beg for basic respect, I said. You can keep the picture. I'm keeping my peace. I left. The epilogue is simple. I didn't spiral. I didn't do the back-and-forth phone war. I focused on my work, my cruise, my sleep. I moved into a small rental for a while, then bought a place that felt like mine, quiet, clean, no tension in the air. My business grew because I stopped bleeding energy into a situation that didn't deserve it. New contracts, better systems, more time with my buddies without pretending everything was fine. I got a newer truck, not flashy, just reliable. Funny how life improves when you stop paying for someone else's secrets. Aaron rebuilt too. We weren't best friends, but we stayed in contact because we understood the same kind of betrayal of basic decency. She found her footing again. Lauren? She lost what she was really protecting, control of the image. People saw the truth without me needing to smear her. The story didn't need decoration. It had timestamps. Months later, I met a woman who didn't treat simple questions like an attack. A grown woman with steady eyes who didn't need mystery to feel powerful. Being with her felt quiet in the best way. No games. No fog. And that's the real win. Not anger. Not drama. Just a life where respect isn't a negotiation. Here's what I learned, and what I'd tell any man sitting across from me with that tired look in his eyes. First, when your partner starts treating normal accountability like drama, don't argue about tone. Don't keep rephrasing the same question like it's a customer service call. A respectful relationship can handle simple structure. Where you are, when you'll be back, why the mood flipped. If those basics trigger contempt, the problem isn't your wording. Second, boundaries aren't speeches. They're logistics. The moment I moved to the guest room and separated finances, the fog got thinner. Not because I was trying to hurt her, because I stopped funding confusion. A lot of men make the mistake of staying fully available, same bed, same money, same access, while being treated like an inconvenience. That teaches the other person they can downgrade you and keep the benefits. Third, don't chase vibes. Follow patterns. Writing things down felt cold at first, but it saved me from self-doubt. And it kept me from doing the dumb thing. Endless talking, bargaining for decency, accepting, we're fine, while my life was clearly not fine. What would have been the mistake? Losing my frame at the party, trying to compete for attention, or winning her back, with more effort when the issue was respect. Another mistake would have been turning it into a screaming match. That would have handed her the storyline. He's unstable. I didn't give her that gift. The main idea is blunt. Comfort is not love, and a pretty image is not a marriage. Respect comes first. If it dies, you don't revive it with begging. You revive yourself with decisions. So, that's the end of this story. Since you made it to the end, it seems it kept your interest. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated on future videos, and feel free to explore the other stories too. Thanks, and have a great day.